Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. So one of the things I want to talk to you about today is trust. Trust is one of the most important factors that you have when selecting an interior designer that you'll be working with for a while. So every good relationship starts with trust and it's built on trust. And that includes the relationship with an interior designer. So while it's important to know and like your designer, trusting them to do what's best and to act always on your behalf and in your best interest is actually much more important. So it's even more important than ever since there will be times when you need to totally depend on and rely on the knowledge and experience of that person. So, and you need to have that confidence that you know that they're going to, say this is what you want, what you don't want, what you need and don't need, and to take your project to that next level and to implement it successfully on your behalf. So as a designer for over 35 years, one of the best compliments I receive from my clients is, Rita, whatever you think, or what do you think? So that implies that they know how much I care about them, about their project, and that I will do what it takes to speak on their behalf to ensure the results that we envision together. So how do you get to know, like, and trust a prospective interior designer? So the first step would be to start with friends, family, colleagues, anyone that you know that has used an interior designer, and ask them what their experience was like in working with them. And what work did they perform? What was the project? What type of project was it? And their overall level of satisfaction with the services that they received. Obviously, a glowing review about a certain designer would be a great place to start. But sometimes you're going to get, well, I really like this, but I didn't like this so much. So just weigh the options and then check out their credentials, which is number 2. So check out their credentials, their website, their blogs, any articles they've written, if they've been speaking or writing, and other testimonials. So education is obviously important. So in the design field, ideally, experience in the field. How many years have they had experience in that field? And if they have a specialization. So is it residential? Is it commercial? Is it renovation or is it new construction? And obviously, if they specialize in kitchens and baths, that would certainly behoove you to have a conversation with them and see if you know, like, and trust that person. If they deal a lot in senior living or public spaces, that would be a completely different approach because things do happen in the field. And so if you're working on kitchens a lot, inevitably there's little things that happen. And if you're used to that, then you know how to troubleshoot those problems. So another question to ask about credentials is, are they an influencer in their field? Do other people look to them for answers, ideas, and are they a resource for them? So obviously it's best if they have experience with your particular project, but if they don't, but if you really like them, if they are just a good designer overall, it might be worth trying them out. So the third thing is to meet with and speak with that prospective designer. Ideally, you're going to meet with them in person because there's so much to be said for meeting with someone in person, having the body language and so forth. But if you can't, there's certainly other methods like Zoom right now to be able to meet with people. So ask a lot of questions, and I would have these prepared in advance just to make sure that you cover everything. But number one, their preferred aesthetic. Are they traditional and you're very contemporary? Are you a minimalist and they're not? What kind of projects have they worked on? Their ability to work within your budget and your timeline. So important. Because if they're used to working on super high-end projects and that doesn't fit with your budget, then it may not be the best fit for you. Also, their willingness to work with you with regard to reusing, repurposing existing furniture, incorporating it into the design. Some designers would prefer to start from scratch and just to build out a whole new room. For me, I've always loved the fact that, there are some pieces that people love and they want to repurpose those. And to the extent that we can, we try to incorporate those into the overall design. So then ask questions about their business experience, their resources, and just overall their business savvy. So do they use written contracts and proposals? I know that sounds like a silly question, but it's not, because not all designers do that. And to me, it's extremely important that people know what they're getting, that it's in writing, and that you have an actual contract to work from. The next thing is, what is their project management experience? So important. So, a lot of young designers that come right out of school, they know so much. And believe me, I've learned so much from them over the years. But then you put them in the field and they really need some help, because things happen. And, what are you going to do when things happen? Also, how do you create timelines that work? How can you put multiple trades in a field at the same time, so you can, manage a timeline? All of these things are so important to project management. And then who is their team? Is it a solo practitioner? No problem with that. But do they have teams of other designers, architects, who are their contractors, their tradespeople? Those are things that we need to know before we start a trusting relationship. And also, what is their access to really good resources, things that you don't have access to, that they might, and that could make or break your project. And then ask for examples of their ability to troubleshoot problems. What has happened to them in the field? What creative solutions did they come up? What were some of the options? And how did they go about that process? I think that's maybe, for me, it's one of the most critical things that we can offer, is a lot of experience in the field, and we've seen all kinds of stuff happen. So, and just not to get flustered by it. There's always a solution, and how do you manage that? So number 4 is creativity and new ideas. And of course, just in one conversation, you may or may not be able to discern that. But in that conversation, just ask questions about your proposed project. So if it's a kitchen, what if I bumped through that wall? What could my home look like? And how would it function, and so forth? So just listening to them, be able to articulate their ideas such that you can start to visualize that. A second thing that I always think is important is, are they willing to push you out of your comfort zone? My role has been for many years to push buttons, to suggest a black wall, a navy blue wall, whatever it is, suggest we do move that wall and open up the space. So because as a designer, you have the ability to literally see through walls, it's important to push the envelope and just explore the idea. It doesn't mean that that's ultimately what's going to happen. But in this interview with this person, who is your potential or prospective designer, just ask them to, think creatively with you, and how would they solve, this problem, a kitchen not big enough, not enough workspace, whatever it is. And then one of the best compliments there would be, wow, I never thought about that. And to me, that is a compliment as a designer, because we do have the ability to see through walls and to help people envision things that they might not see themselves. So these are just a few of the ways that I would recommend that you take time to interview people that you would potentially work with. Because when you know, like, and trust that person who you're going to be working with, the talent and expertise to make your project come to fruition is obviously important. And when that designer is someone you also enjoy being with and working with, has great ideas, and is willing to continue to develop those ideas, to expand upon them, to get it to an ultimate design solution. And when you trust that designer to give it their all to help you bring your project to life in a way that is always supporting you, your vision, and basically taking care of you. I guess that's almost a nurturing instinct or something, but to use the talents and skills that a designer has to work with you and for you to get the best results. then that to me is the best relationship that you can ask for with a designer. If you want to know more, please feel free to reach out to me at Rita Wilkins at ritawilkins.com. And I do offer a complimentary 30-minute consultation if you'd like to just discuss this topic further, or if you're considering a designer, I'd love to be considered for your project. We do work all over the country. So give me a call, and you can just sign up for that complimentary call on my website at ritawilkins.com. If you liked this content today, please comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel. You might also want to go to our website. We have over 450 blogs on interior design, downsizing design, and lifestyle design that I think will benefit you in many ways. Have a great day.